Through 2 weeks, the Buccaneers rank second in the NFL in rushing yards allowed and sixth in yards per attempt allowed. And there's some in the Tampa Bay fan base that think the Eagles won't rush for more than 70 yards in their Week 3 matchup. In recent years, the Bucs were the most formidable run defense in the NFL, ranking first in both yards allowed and yards per attempt in the 2019 and 2020 seasons. In 2021, they were still third in yards allowed while slipping to 13th in yards per carry, but last season, they ranked 15th in yards allowed while falling to 20th in yards per carry. Gone are the dominant days of Ndamukong Suh to pair with the disruptive strength of Vita Vea. Vea is still playing lights out, and I expect he'll create some negative plays against the Eagles, but outside of him, the Buccaneers personnel on the interior of their defensive line has become much lighter in stature. Outside of Vea, they only have one other defensive lineman above 300 pounds, and that's Vea's primary backup. Their interior defensive lineman with the most snaps this season is Logan Hall, who is 283 pounds. They rotate in two other defensive tackles, one that is 290 pounds and another that is 280. We just saw last week against the Vikings what will happen if you try to play with light personnel along the defensive line. Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson have too much mass to throw 280-pound defensive tackles in their way. Like I mentioned, the Bucs' run defense has appeared solid to start the year if you look at the surface numbers. However, the Bears' running attack averaged over 6 yards a carry last week, but for some reason the Bears decided to only run the ball 11 times with their running backs. The Buccaneers were outstanding against the Vikings, limiting their running backs to just 2.4 yards per carry on 14 carries, but the Vikings were bottom 7 in rush attempts, yards, and yards per carry in 2022. When you look at their offensive line, running back room, and overall offense, they're not a team built to run the ball well. And with their heavy outside zone scheme, that was a bad matchup against a Bucs team that is more athletic than stout up front, with a linebacker duo that excels getting sideline to sideline. Looking at the Bears game, they had their most success when they ran schemes that attacked Tampa's interior defensive linemen that were not named Vita Vea. Getting double teams on these undersized defensive linemen allowed them to create movement and climb to the second level defenders. The way to beat Tampa in the run game is to run right at them, not go side to side where Devin White and Levante David can chase down the ball. When looking back at how the Eagles ran all over the Vikings, I believe we'll see a lot of the same game plan of their run game against the Buccaneers. A lot of tight zone weak and split zone plays that are designed to cut off the blocks of Dickerson, Mailata, and the tight ends is my guess as to how the Eagles will look to attack on the ground. Todd Bowles is a smart coordinator. If he sees that happening, I imagine we'll get some counter strategies, such as attempting to move Vita Vea to the 3 technique to the same side as the running back, or sending some run blitzes in an attempt to create some negative plays. But that just opens up their defense to be attacked in different ways. Overall, the Buccaneers have a good run defense by their surface numbers. But when you start to look a little deeper, they have some areas that can be exploited, and they have yet to face an offensive line and run game nearly as good as the Eagles. If the Buccaneers can't find a way to slow down the Eagles' rushing game, then it's going to be a long night and a lot of snaps for their defense.